Okay, here we go. I am on. Sorry it took a little bit. I've been trying to stay on a 12 o'clock p.m. First of all, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. The blacksmith is in the forge. First matter of business. Sorry I'm a little late. I had to figure out how to actually record these Discord streams. I had to download a new software last week because the one, man, they try to get you. Everything costs money. Nothing in this world worth anything is free. So I downloaded this the software and it allowed me to record the streams, but then it was like, oh, the stream's over like 10 minutes long. If you want to extract the full stream, you have to pay per month. You know what I said? Uninstall. All right, that's the way we do it over here. Now I'm just playing. I'm not cheap, but I'm not stupid either. If there's software out there that's free that can capture your videos and upload them, why wouldn't I just use that? Work smarter, not harder. Now, first thing you may notice is the threads, okay? First of all, that says T, B, and P. That is me, the Blacksmith Podcast. My sister-in-law, she helped me hook up get some t-shirts. Oh, let me show you some. All right, so this be the black one. All right. So it's got my logo down here. It's got the hammer, the TBP, and the anvil. And then of course, there he is. I don't know who that dude is, but that's a picture of somebody, some muscly individual. Um, so right now, I have a couple blue like this. I have some black, gray, and green t-shirt. So that will be coming shortly and you will be able to purchase those should you like. I have to figure out the logistics of that, but it's an awesome thing when you can take an idea that has been floating around in your head for a while and make it tangible. That's a wonderful day on planet Earth. And it just goes to show you, I'm just an average dude that cares. I could have not done this and just been like everybody else, but I mean, it's I don't know. I'm just an average dude, so if I could do it, you could do it, is what I'm saying. Y'all might be more special than I am. I can almost guarantee that. All right, folks. So what you can see on your screen right now, this comes from mycalculators.com. Listen, amazing calculators, okay? If you wanted to know, instead of just Googling and try to, well, give me 3% interest. No, 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 no. Go to mycalculators.com. You can just hit Google, do my calculators, and this will come up. So right now, the first one I have showing um, is one for a mortgage. The second one here is ones for savings and investments. And then the third one here is my favorite, the 401k, 43B, TSP, thrift savings plan. That one's my favorite. Um, so that's what I'm going to go over today. I'm going to touch on financial literacy again today. I'm trying to find a good ebb and flow for Saturdays and the topics. I'm trying to utilize the Discord chat so that people can throw their suggestions for what we should go over on Saturdays in here. But here we go. All right, reasons for 401k. Number one, um, the great, not yet late Warren Buffett often says, he's 94, by the way. He's not yet late, but if I were a betting man, I'm guessing he's getting close. I'm just going to guess he's got more days behind him than in front of him, okay? But while he's still here on planet Earth, he's not yet late. All right, so my favorite quote from Warren Buffett is if you do not find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. And most people have probably never heard of that. They never heard of that concept. But when I heard that, it was eye opening. It was earth shattering because that added on so much more financial wisdom than I ever received from my parents. And I love them to life. But listen, no matter how you squeeze an orange, you can't get apple juice out of it, right? You can twist it, you can compress it, you can just smash it to pieces. You can't get apple juice out of an orange. So if it's not in them, they can't teach you, right? And it wasn't in them. So they taught me what they knew. Get a job, a good job, work it for 20 to 40 years, retire and get that pension. And then when you're old enough, get Social Security, and then you get paid twice, kind of, right? From what you paid into Social Security, then you get your pension. And that's, listen, folks, that's age old and it's ancient history. That is not the world today. And I'm going to tell you the best way to become a dinosaur and ensure you die out and you work until you die is to not change with the world. The world is constantly changing and evolving. And so you have to be malleable and flexible enough to change with the world. And let me stop speaking in riddles, okay? Let's just get to this. This is one of the ways that you can make money while you sleep. It's called investing, right? And because I am the blacksmith and I love teaching, you know, it's funny. My teachers used to tell me, um, who they used to ask the class, who wants to be a teacher? I never raised my hand. Who wants to do that? Right? And then they said, "Oh, you don't want to be a teacher?" I said, "I'll never be a teacher." And they say, "You know, it's funny. The ones who always say that always wind up being a teacher. What am I doing right now?" When you're right, you're right. You know, when you're young, you think you know everything. All right, so look, investing. I like defining things first. We start with definitions because this whole world and how we say my truth, your truth. No, there is the truth. No one owns it. 2 + 2 is 4. It's not 3 for you and 5 for him. We define stuff over here. We don't do with that. We're not woke. We're kind of asleep. I'm just kidding. All right, so look, to expend money with the expectation of achieving a profit or material result by putting it into financial plans, shares, or property, or by using it to develop a commercial venture. Now, what does all of that mean? Let's deal with this part. To expend money. First of all, expending money means it's no longer in your hand. You are spending your money with the expectation of achieving a profit. So you're going to expend money to get money back. So you give 10 bucks to get at least 11 back, right? Or material result by putting it into financial plans. Okay, so IRAs, saving CDs, or you may have heard it referred to as savings certificates. Um, okay, that's two. I can't think right now. Shares, so stock market, right? Big on the stock market over here, or property, a home, right? And that's how most people tie up their money into properties is they buy a home. However, the days of buying one home and that being like tied to generational wealth is kind of gone, folks. We have to change. We have to move on. See, before a man could take one factory job and support a wife and two children, usually, right? A third might get dicey. Maybe if the ones are older, I don't know. But he could pay for one car at least and a 2 week vacation every year, every summer. These were the days of my grandfathers, right? That's what they did. Um, and if they were good with their money, maybe afford a cheaper second car for the wife to drive while he's at work, right? Those days are gone. Buying that one house presents a problem anyway. Um, when you're gone and your wife is gone, now you have two kids. What do you do at the house? One of them's getting it, the other one's not. So what do? You leave the home to the oldest one and then what? Make them give half the equity in that home to the youngest one. So the oldest one gets a home to live in with a paid off mortgage, but then you create a mortgage for them by making them pay half the equity to the youngest one. The youngest one gets cash. And what do people typically do with cash? Now I'm just spitballing here, but I'm just saying, look, you have two kids in one home. How are you going to split that home? You sell it and just give them both cash? Me, I would think that was a crying shame. That home appreciates. That is an asset, an ever appreciating asset, while those cars are depreciating assets. Who cares about the cars? I take the home. But anyway, so that's how most people put their money into property, okay? Using it to develop a commercial venture. Now, most people will not fall into this one ever, actually. So we're not even going to go into that. Sorry, something fell back here and my foot is hitting it. All right, I'm a real person. This is no AI. All right, if I sneeze on camera, pardon me. I'm just kidding. All right, so let's now we see the definition of what an investment is. Now let's get the blacksmith's investment because I want you to. I break everything down really, really easy. Maybe I should have had this on Microsoft Word already laid out. We building this plane while we flying it over here. I'm kind of new to doing this Discord live thing on Saturdays, but we're gonna sharpen this show right up for you because we expect excellence, so we do excellent things over here. Investing is this: putting your money into something that is going to give you a return on investment, and that return on investment is higher than what inflation is. Did you get that? Putting your money into something that is going to give you a return on investment, and that return on investment is higher than inflation. Watch this. I love definitions over here, right? Inflation, the act of inflating something. I hate defining words with the word, but sometimes it's hard. The action of inflating something or the condition of being inflated. Economics, which is what we're looking for. A general increase in prices and fall in purchasing value of money. Now, let's explain inflation. This is now blacksmith explanation in the forge today. All right, so let me explain how inflation works, right? Over time, the cost of milk, gas, bread, eggs, these things go up over time. They become more expensive. And supply and demand is the biggest thing that drives these costs, right? So, more people wanting these goods, the more valuable they become. Watch this. You don't believe me? Look in a store when things are on sale, and then look in a store when things are marked pretty high, and then look in a sale when they're on the discount rack or please take it rack, and it's 10 for $1, right? Now, if it's perishable goods, like not perishable as in it needs to stay cold, but perishable goods like something edible, like a can of beans or something. Flip that can around and look at the expiration date. Oh, it's getting close to expiring. No wonder it's 10 cents, right? So, and nobody's looking at that can because, when people are buying goods, if you are a good consumer, you don't just, oh, there it is, rake it in the cart without looking at it, right? You don't do that with fruit, vegetable. You don't do it with produce or anything like that. So it becomes less valuable as it's about to expire. And then the less people that want it, the less valuable it becomes, right? Now, let me talk about inflation. And here is why you want to invest your money. And we're going to get to the calculator now. We're going to do this one, the 401k. Let's say you started the year 2024 with $100 in a checking account, a shoe box, your mattress, the wall, a hole in the wall. I've seen lots of crazy stuff. I've heard of crazier, right? In the attic, in the walls of your house. I use wall already. I don't know. In the spare tire hubcap of your car. I don't know. I've seen some crazy stuff, right? You still have $100 now that it's January 18th of 25. What changed? Well, inflation is 3 to 4% a year. I think last year it actually went down to 2%, but so we can get to the subject matter, just so y'all understand what I'm saying. Let's just use 3%. On average, about 3% a year. So you had it in something that was just stagnant for a year, is the point. Why would you not want to do that? Because in 2025, you still have $100. You don't have the buying power of $100 anymore. If you look at this definition right here, it says the increase in prices, the fall in purchasing value of money or buying power. Most people never talk about this, but that's what's really important. People love looking at their checking account and seeing, oh, I got $10,000. Has it been there for a year? Yeah, you got $10,000, but now it spends like $9,700 because inflation you might as well have burned $300, let the moths eat it, throw it out a window, make it rain somewhere. I'm just playing. I don't do that stuff. But you may as well have given it away or lost it because you lost value in that money, if whether you knew it or not, whether you knew inflation was real or not, whether you allowed it or not. It's not something you control. It just is. So and part of what causes inflation is too much money in circulation. So when the government prints more and more and more money, and you're hearing this on the news and you're thinking, yeah, they're printing more money, that means there's more to go around. Understand that when this country was first founded, or even around the time of the American Revolution, people used to go to the store with wheelbarrows of money because it was worthless. So you had so much of this paper money. Let's just say, imagine going to the grocery store, and you have to, the like stacks of money where you have like I don't know, a wad of cash, like I'm trying to think, a stack of 10,000 bucks, right? Imagine what 10,000 bucks look like. Imagine you had to go to the grocery store and that's what you bought your eggs, milk, and all that kind of stuff with. And you're like, 10,000 bucks. Oh my God, because it doesn't go far, because the money was worthless back then. And now inflation's on the other side, where that same 10,000 bucks does not buy as much as it used to. Um, so anyway, if you had $100 sitting in a checking account for a year, now you still have $100 on paper, but it spends like $97. If you had, and watch this, I'm gonna do a little cortisone breaking. If you had 1,000 bucks, it spends like 970. If you had 10,000 bucks, it spends like 9,700. I'm gonna go a little deeper. If you had $100,000, it only spends like $970,000. If you had $1,000,000, it only spends like $970,000. Okay, so 3% a year. Now let's see why you would need a 401k. Now let's say you are 30 years old. We're gonna use the mature age of 30 years old. See what I did there? I ain't say old. Um, and you have no money in your 401k, and you wanted me to show you, why should I start investing? I'm already 30. I get by just fine. I'm paying my bills. I got some money in savings and stuff. I'll show you. So you got zero money in a 401k, a 403b, a TSP, never mind that number. I don't know why it popped up. All right, so now let's say you have an annual income of $50,000. That's pretty good, right? Depending on where you are, depending you're not living in New York, or you're not living in California at all. All right. Chat, you guys and gals can, you got that? Okay. You guys and gals can use this, and I'll check this periodically. Um, okay. So let's say every year you can expect an annual salary increase of about 3%. Okay. Now, let's say you wanted to invest what normal people would, or whatever, 10%, right? Let's say 10%. Let's say your employer is gracious enough to match you up to 3%. So really you're investing 13% because if your employer is matching you three for three. So if you invested 7, they match you 3, you're actually investing 10. But let's say you do 10, they do 3. And then let's say, what age do we want this guy to retire? Let's say 65. All right. So remember, he's 30. So that means this 401k is going to cook for about 35 years. Now, for the average, like following the stock market, right? The stock market rises about 10% a year because the S&P 500, which are the top 500 companies, they increase about 10% a year. And the stock market largely follows those 500 companies. Thus, let's give you an average of 10% a year. We ready to go? Watch this. All right. Oh, it opened another window. Son of a biscuit. Let me share this screen. Let me change windows real quick because it opens another window and I hate that, but that's what it is. All right. All right, y'all should be able to see what I'm looking at right now, but the screen is not recording what I'm looking at right now. Let's do window capture. No, that's not the window I'm looking at. Hold on one second. I just need. Okay, so because I'm recording this video, I also have to switch. I have to switch it on both. So sorry. Give me a second. Okay, now we're all on the same screen. Now watch this. Year one, because you're putting in 10% of your income, you make 50,000 a year. So easy math. The first year you contribute $5,000, right? That's actually about what, less than $600 a month? Because well, 500 a month would be 6,000 a year, so less than 500 a month. Now the employer didn't contribute anything here, but you earned 225 off of that $5,000. Now the next year, because you got a pay raise of 3%, now what you're contributing goes up. But look at what you're earning. You can actually see compound interest in the second year. Very discreet, and you can miss it if you blink. But you contributed $5,000 the first year and got 225. You're only contributing 150 more, and look, you're almost $500 more earned the second year. Now look, let's watch compound interest work its magic on the third year. Now you're only contributing $5,300, and look, you're up to $1,351. Now this is not the compilation of the 3 years right here. This is what you're earning off that current year. The compilation is over here in the ending balance. Okay, it's going to highlight everything. It's in the far column. This ending balance compiles everything from every year, every preceding year, right? So look at compound interest work as magic. Look at the fourth year. You're only putting in 5,400, which means you're actually only earning about 54,000 at this point. That's not very much. Don't be in California, New York for this. But now look, on the fourth year, you're earning $2,000. Well, let's deal with this. Let's get rid of the suspense. Let's go all the way down here. Now let's look at our 35th year. Our 35th year, you're starting the year with $1.7 million. Okay. You contribute $13,659.53, which means at 65, because most people start hitting their most men are, hit their financial stride. They usually start it if they're early mid 40s, and they start in their 50s hitting their real financial stride, right? So if he's 30, that's 45. That would be 50 right here, his 20th year. So look, $8,700, he's earning $87,000 right here, right? So let's go down to the bottom. He's earning 136K. So that's the interest he earns off of it right here, 170,000. So if this is me at 65, I'm like, I don't know, I might work 5 more years if I'm earning 170K off 13K. And see, the late and great Albert Einstein said, price is what you pay. See what's highlighted? That's the price. Value is what you get. See what I'm trying to highlight? I'm missing the one, but y'all get it? That's the value, 170K for the price you paid, 13,000, which is a sacrifice, right? Because if you add up all this money for 35 years that you've invested, look, you've actually paid a way that you could have bought Jordans, you could have bought Versace and put it on the floor. Bruno Mars, anybody? Just me? Cars, just anything. 302,000. That's a lot of apparel. That's a lot of junk. That's a lot of liabilities that you could have bought. And most people, if they left that in their bank account, shoebox or wall, would have used it for such. They would have used it on liabilities. Now look at what happened. The value they got out of it was 5 times that much. 1.5, almost 1.6 million. And so they end up at 65 with a grand total of $1.88 million, right? Now, and how can I put this? Don't be fooled by the rocks that he's got. He's still, no, I'm just playing. This is actually not a lot of money if you think about it, right? It depends, right? Culturally or ethnically, if he's black, the average life expectancy for a black man, I think it was in 2019, and it hasn't moved much, was 68.8. He's almost dead, statistically. So you also have to, and why does this matter? Because you also have to think of the health implications of your ethnicity as you get older. Some ethnicities have the propensity or the tendency for black men, high blood pressure, and I want to say maybe prostate cancer, right? So that matters too. Why does that matter? Because health factors in. Your health costs become a lot more expensive when you're older. Getting health insurance becomes a lot more expensive when you're older because they know they're going to be paying out a lot of money for you. The only thing keeping you really afloat are the young people that have health insurance that are paying for it that are not using the money. It's kind of like the Social Security system, right? Or even car insurance. Most of the people paying into the system are not using the insurance. Some people go their whole life and never even get into a fender bender, right? And so they never extract any money out of the system, but other people do. That's how you don't break the system. You have more money coming in than going out. And that's exactly what's happening here. You have all this money going in, but none of the money's coming out. So watch this. The medical bills, you have to be careful. So at this point, you're going to have to also do something else. You're going to have medical insurance. You should have life insurance, right? And we'll talk about that in a second, but just look at the sheer power of compound interest. Compound interest, I keep saying it, it's undefeated. It's undefeated. I was told when I was in a motorcycle class, they say, if you lose control of this bike, I'm gonna tell you right now, trees and stopped cars are undefeated. I was like, Well, that's one way to look at it. So is compound interest, undefeated. Let's play with another one real quick. All right, so now you should be able to see. Nope, you can't see what I'm looking at. So the recorder can, but you can't. See, I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm learning. Let's change windows for y'all. Let's go back here. All right, now you should be able to see it. Yeah, you can. All right. Chat, if you have anything for me, go ahead and use it. If you don't, hey, be entertained. No, I'm just playing. I'm not an entertainer. But enjoy the show. Learn, take notes. All right, so look, now let me show you something. Because sometimes people think it's the money you're putting in. And some people are not convinced until they see it. Seeing is believing. Let me show you the difference in a young man who was raised properly with financial literacy. Let me show you the difference in a young man who starts out knowing financial literacy. Let's make this guy 18 now, right? He has $0 in his 401k. He's not earning $50,000 because a lot of folks want a ready-made guy, but they don't understand 18. You're not. You're just getting started. So let's start this guy off at 20,000. Let's start him off at 20,000. Let's say he does the same thing, 3% annual increase. All right, 20 grand is about $10 an hour, right? It may be a little more than that. It's about $10 an hour, which is really low. But California earning $20 an hour at Chick-fil-A, listen, that's just a California thing that they passed that rule for fast food. That's not everywhere in the country. That's why we're going to use 20,000. Let's get this guy about $10 an hour. That's what he's earning. So an annual increase of 3% a year. Let's say he does the same thing because he's living at home with his parents. And listen, there is let me tell you something. Now this is parental philosophy. So if you're here for the finances, you could tune out or you could just listen because you may learn something. But there is value add in having your kids at home once they become adults for a couple years. And the value add is this. As long as y'all aren't beefing, as long as, everybody's getting along and stuff, the value add is this. The fact of the matter is that once they turn 18, this magical number that America decided long ago that was just poof, you're ready to be on your own now. Now we know, those of us that are older, if you compare where you are now to where you were at 18, you really didn't know a thing. I wasn't teaching at 18. I was like Aristotle. I was still a student of Socrates and Plato, whichever one he was a student of. I forget. But I was still, my mouth was shut. I wasn't saying a word because I didn't know anything. And fortunately for me, I knew I didn't know anything. So I sat at the feet of guys who are more wise than I was, right? So that is a value add for an 18-year-old. They were underneath your tutelage and your mentorship as kids. Now they're under your tutelage and mentorship as adults. Life has changed. Your credit score, your credit report automatically starts when you're 18 and 1/2, right? So when you're 18 and 6 months, credit starts up, right? And what 18-year-old knows that? Do you think the average 18-year-old knows that? No, but that's the parents, the value add once they become 18. Now you're not hearing about this mythical thing about being grown. Now they actually are grown. And now they actually are listening because, oh, shoot, now I'm in this mythical thing called adulthood. What do I need to know? Now ears are open. Now everybody's situation is different. Some people's kids don't listen. So whatever. Getting back to this. So this 18-year-old, let's say the employer is going to match 3%. And now let's say this 18-year-old wants to also retire at 65. So what's the math on that? This one isn't going to cook for 35 years. It's going to cook for 47 years. because, well, if that should, okay, let me not say easy math. That is the math. That is the math. If you want to know, if you add 20 years, that's 67. So just subtract 2. Good to go. That's what I did. All right. So, okay. Now, same thing. 10% average earned. Now, here we go with this other screen. Give me a second because I'm going to have to change it on both. So, view schedule. Okay, the recorder changed it, but you guys can't see it. Let me change my screen. All right, chat. There we go. Now, let's not scroll. Again, watch compound interest right from the start. You contribute $2,000, again, 10%, so he's earning 20, and you earn 90 bucks off of it. Whoop-de-doo, right? Year number 2, you only add $60 more. Remember, you're only getting a 3% raise every year. However, watch the second year. You earn $211. And if we're being precise, 71 cents, right? The second year, you can see the compound interest plain as day. Now let's look at the third year, and then we're going to go down to the bottom. Okay, the third year, you're adding $2,100 and you're earning $540. Now that was a $240 jump from the second year, right? Compound interest, folks, is just undefeated. It just is. Good to see you over there in the chat. I can see your window. All right. Now let's look at the 10-year mark for this 18-year-old. Now this 18-year-old is 28. They have $31,000 in their TSP 401k 403b at 28, right? If they're smart enough to not buy liabilities and buy assets, their net worth might actually be positive at this point, which actually would put them leaps and bounds ahead of other people because most people have a negative net worth from buying liabilities. They think a new car is more important than where they live. And I've heard I think it's completely ghetto, but I've heard the completely ghetto mindset of, or let's not call it ghetto. Some people might be offended. And we're not seeking to offend over here. We're seeking to educate. So if I start offending, people won't listen and be educated. So let's rewind that up. Take that and rewind it back. Let's say the ill-informed mindset of no one's going to see where I live, but everyone's going to see what I drive. Who cares? I could have hubcaps that fell off. If that car is paid off and all I'm doing is paying liability insurance, no car note or whatever. Anyway, I digress. So starting at the age of 28, this guy has 31 G's in his account, right? And the real power is not the 31 grand. Whoop-de-doo, that's not a lot of money. However, the real power is in this, is that over time it's compounding, it's rolling over and creating more money. See, there's 3 types of financial mindsets. There's the poor man's mindset that thinks money is only for paying bills. There's the middle class mindset that thinks money is only for buying things. And there's the rich man's mindset that knows that money is for making money babies, is for making and creating more money. And that is exactly what interest is doing. Look, I'm not Einstein, but I can repeat his words a million times because if they were smart yesterday, they're smart today. $2,600 he's putting in year 10 gets him $3,200. So that's basically saying I'm giving you $600 and you give me back $1,200. So he's earning $600 off of this money that year, right? Oh, I'm sorry, he earned $3,200. It's basically, you get what I'm saying. You're giving them a certain money and they're giving you more, right? So now let's look at the 20-year mark. Now this guy's 38. He's my age. I know you didn't think so, but you know, I got some silver foxing going on right here. All right, so look, now this guy at 38 has 130K in his 401k, right? He's still not even earning a lot of money. He's only earning 35 grand a year at 38. All right. but he's got 130 grand compounding interest. And look, from $3,500, he's earning $13,000 off of that, ending the year at 146K. Let's go down to 30 years. Look, folks, the compound interest is just undefeated. He begins with 403 grand. Now he's 48. He's a little older than me, a little more wiser. He's only earning 47,000 a year. And you're like, how the heck is he living off of this? And how is he investing 10%? Easy, because you buy assets, not liabilities. And if you live minimally, who says you need 20 shoes in your closet and sneaker boxes piled up across your floor? Who says you don't need you need more than 10 shirts, 10 pants, 10 pair of pants? Who says you need a Lexus in the front yard? Maybe this guy rides a bicycle. Maybe work is close. And that's laughable until you see what compound interest does at the end of this thing. No one will be laughing then. Maybe he rides a motorcycle. Motorcycles are cheap. 4,000 or 5,000 gets you a nice used motorcycle, or a new 250, and you can get back and forth to work, and you don't spend that much. Now look, off of 4,700, he's earning 40 grand this year. All right, let's go all the way down. Let's end the suspense. So 47 years of IRA cooking, right? He is now 65 years old. He starts the year with $2.2 million. He is only earning 77 grand at 65 years old. The other guy, remember, was earning like 136K, I want to say, right? But that guy started the year at what, like 1.7, 1.6 million, because he ended at 1.8. If you ever played the board game, The Game of Life, play that game. I played it as a kid with my parents, and I'm going to tell you what, it showed me that you should be doing this right from the start. Because look, off of $7,700, he earned $228,000 that year and ended with $2.5 million. Now, what was the difference? One guy started at 18, one guy started at 35. That was the biggest difference, because they both put 10% in a year. And the 35-year-old had the head start on the 18-year-old of his 10% being worth 5 grand, when the 18-year-old's 10% being worth 2 grand. But the 18-year-old quickly surpassed him. I mean, not really, not quickly, because his salary was so low. He only really passed him right here in the last 4 years. I think it was 1.88. So really the last 3 years, look at how that interest compounded. And it was almost a photo finish with these two folks. But the difference is, but he far exceeded him. He far exceeded him. That's $700,000 he made more. He earned more, right? So compound interest is undefeated, people, and this is why we need to have retirement accounts. This is why you don't just spend all your money. All of your paycheck. This is one gripe I have. If you've ever seen Family Guy, Peter Griffin has this quote, you know what really grinds my gears, right? What really grinds my gears, right? I stole that from you, Seth MacFarlane. What really grinds my gears is that someone will earn 24 grand a year, right? They're earning a little more, about 12 bucks an hour, right? And they will think, oh, I don't make enough, and they're spending all their money. When you ask them where their money is, they don't know, right? So right from the start, they've got the wrong mindset. They think all that money they earn is for them to spend. No. And a lot of times, they're only working 40 hours a week. So let me introduce you to a concept you may not have heard. And I call this 62, the power of 62. Let me see. Oh, that's my, I don't think y'all can see that. So cool. I'll be able to open this up. I think I saved it on my desktop. Oh, my dog is in here whining to get out. All right, hold on. All right, let me see if I can share this screen with you. Yes, I can. All right. So this is Microsoft Word window capture. Where is it? Where is Microsoft Word? There it is. All right. Now my recorder's got the correct screen. Let's maximize this. All right. Y'all should be able to see what I'm looking at. I'm sorry. This is so unprofessional, but my dog is scratching at the door to get out. All right, so I'm back. She she is on her way probably to her doggy door to do her business. All right, TMI. So look, folks, this is an easy concept, right? It's a blacksmith original, okay? I'm in the forest today. I knocked my light down last week. Hold on. I shouldn't be hitting the desk like that. All right, look. Everybody gets the same 168 hours per week. If you haven't seen this short, don't worry about it. I'm going to give it to you right here. X going to give it to you. All right, so if I gave you 40 hours for working, you wind up with 128 hours left. If I gave you 56 hours for sleeping, you wind up with 72 hours left. And then if I gave you 10 hours, let's just say for commuting. I usually say that because some people deal with a long commute. But this 10 hours is Monday through Friday. So it gives you an hour to work, an hour home. And if your commute's only 10 minutes, great. Let's say it's to wake up, the 3 S's to shower and shave, right? We ain't gonna say that on camera. So now that leaves you with a grand total of 62 hours. And here's my question for everybody. What do you do with your 62? What are you doing with it, right? Remember, this is 62 hours that you're not working, that you're not sleeping. I gave you 8 hours a night, and you're not commuting or getting ready for work or anything like that. What are you doing with your spare time? That's basically what this is saying. And most people wouldn't be able to tell you what they're doing with their time, right? So a guy that makes $24,000 a year, a lot of times is only working 40 hours a week. So he can't even subtract and say or add and say, well, 20 hours of it I'm working. If he worked 60 hours a week, he could plus up his paycheck to $36,000, right? And that's the simple answer. Work 60 hours you're getting paid for. But a lot of people don't do that. And so when they spend their whole paycheck, it's beyond me. That paycheck is not supposed to cover everything. We don't live in the 50s anymore. It's not going to pay for the American dream anymore. It's not going to pay for a wife, 2 kids, a house, a pension, a 401k. It's not going to do that anymore. Dollars don't stretch that far. So this is where this is part of investing, right? Time management. So I taught a series called The Basics. If you haven't seen it, watch those, right? When I get on the investing subject, this deals with that, but this is the most important one of those. The sixth one in the basics was time management. If you don't know where your time is going, the most valuable resource everybody has that you can't get back, what are you doing with your life, right? And I'll tell you how most guys will look. Well, I play 4 hours of video games a night. Okay, cool. That's Monday through Friday. That's 20 hours. What about the weekend? Ooh. So 62 hours is 2.5 days. So you got Saturday and Sunday to account for, right? Most people don't work that. And I've been told as much as 30 hours. Let's say they use 30 hours for video games, right? Here's where the rubber meets the road. Because when you start accounting for that, look, half of your free time that you have You're spending it playing video games. And this may get you to level 60 on World of Warcraft. This may get your KD spread to be 12, positive 12 on Call of Duty. This may make you in the Final Fantasy boss, right? But where is this getting you in life? Perpetual entertainment is the end of a man's creativity, motivation, and drive. CMD, the blacksmith. Don't steal my stuff. All right, so listen. Everybody needs a little detox from work, a little detox from the week. I understand that. So if you want to watch basketball, if you want to watch football, if you want to watch football, soccer, the real football, hold up, I'm American. NFL is my football, but I'm just saying for all of the international people, that's fine. But how many hours? Listen, if you go on a 7-game spree, 3 hours a piece on Saturday for all of college football, come on, man, too much. Get the highlight reel. They got Sports Center for a reason. That's too much. What value is it adding to your life? So I want everybody to do this. If you're watching this video, do this. Your top part should look the same. 168, 40 hours work, 56 hours sleep, 10 hours commute. Do that, get 62, and then I want you to tell me where your hours go every week. I just did this with one of my brothers, and he got down to 27, and he couldn't figure out where the other 27 is going. And that's just as bad as if you knew the 27 were going to video games, because it's wasted time pretty much, right? People are going to waste time. I totally understand that. But you can't waste so much time that you become inefficient, okay? So now we're done with that window. Hold on, let me check my phone real quick. Sorry. The wife needed something. Okay, now let's close this window. And I think you guys can't see that. All right, let me change windows. I hope everybody's getting something out of this. Chat, let me know what's up. Are y'all getting value add out of this? Do y'all know this stuff already? Is this new information, old information, good information? Say something. Let me know something. All right, so I think right now we understand. Oh, I'll do one more 401k because I want to show you something, right? The 18-year-old won the race, right? The tortoise beat the hare. The hare was the 35-year-old guy. He's running the race a lot faster because he's earning $50,000 a year. The 18-year-old ran the race a lot slower because he started at 20 grand a year with only 3%. And he actually never out-earned the 35-year-old. The 35-year-old had a faster pace the entire time. But in the last 3 years, I don't know if the 35-year-old caught a Charlie horse or whatever, but that 18-year-old smoked him across the finish line. All right, let me show you something else, right? The 30-year-old, let's go back to this guy. Can you guys see this? Yeah, it disappears whenever I click on my left screen. All right, so let's go back to the 30-year-old. Let's put $50,000 back on the board, right? Let me show you how this guy can actually catch the 18-year-old. And this is important because I don't want to show you that 18-year-olds are going to smoke you off if you're 25 or you're 30 years old and you haven't been investing. Let me show you how you can catch up to them, okay? Now, you have to have time management and you have to have money management, because if $50,000 is what you are grossing, you're not bringing home $50,000. You're not netting $50,000, if that makes sense. I think for about $60,000 gross, you bring home about $46,000 to $48,000. So just imagine for 50 grand, right? All right, so let's give him an annual increase of 3%, same thing. Now, here's where the 35-year-old can catch the 18-year-old. Money management. He's got to be smarter with his money. Let's say he puts in 20%, not 10. Not 10%. It's funny I said not 10 because in the first year he is going to put 10 grand in here because it's 20%. I mean, yeah, not 1,000, but you get whatever. Yeah, it's going to be 10 grand. All right. Anyway, so the employer still matches 3%. Remember, the 30-year-old only had 35 years before he was 65. And let's say he still earns 10%. This is how he catches them. Watch this. Now, the recorder's got this screen, but y'all don't. Let me switch my screen real quick, and I'm going to show you. Because there's hope for you if you have not started really investing yet. So look, now, the first year, now he doubles what he put in there, 10 grand. Instead of earning $200 off of the first 5 grand, now he's earning $450. Now, let's see what 10 years does. Look, he's already up to 157 grand. He's contributing $13,000. He's earning 16 grand off of it. Look, he ends the year with 186. Let's look at year 20. He starts the year with 651. He puts in 17 G's. He's earning 65 grand off of it. Ends the year with $250,000 or $750,000 almost, right? Now let's look at year 30 before hitting the bottom. Now look, now the older guy is set to not be outpaced by the younger guy. He's already at $2 million at age 60. He's only got 5 years to go, and he's trying not to get outpaced. I think the 18-year-old at the end, starting with 20 grand, ended up with 2.5 million. Let's see if the 35-year-old can beat him. Remember, compound interest is undefeated. Look, 35 years, starts the year with $3.4 million, ends with 3.7. This is how the older guy can outpace the younger guy. And really and truly, he should, because you're 12 years away from being 18, or 12 years removed from 18. You ought to know more. So if you hadn't started yet, you ought to be investing this vigorously. And this is just one investment, folks. Understand, this is just retirement, okay? This is just his 401k. So now this is not Social Security. So he's also going to get Social Security, right? But then what about the stock market? What about a home? What about all the other savings and investments that you could have? This is just retirement, what you would have. So over the course of your life, you would have invested 604 grand and earned $3.1 million. All right. So let's look at one of these other calculators. I think I got to change the screen over again, but y'all get it. I'll do one more because this one is already at an hour. What do we want to see? Oh, let's do homes. This one's a hot topic in our nation today. Listen, folks, if I may make a suggestion to you, if you do not own a home, okay, especially if you're military, I'm looking at you. If you're military, think about sacrifice, and think about the tools you have in your utility belt, Batman. You have a tool in your belt called a VA loan, right? A VA loan. Now, if you're not military, you have tools in your bag too there, Robin. You have FHA, right? You have an FHA loan. FHA loan, okay, I really got to dig deep. This will be another class. We're going to do the calculator, but let me just put this out here, right? Normally, when you purchase a home, you have to do what's called a conventional loan. So that means you have to come with 20% of what the house is worth, money down, right? 20% of what the price of the house is. So if it's a $500,000 home, you're coming with $100,000. Now, most people don't have that. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say most people don't have $100,000 just sitting around, right? Um, and so sometimes they will borrow against their 401ks if they have at least, usually your retirement funds will let you borrow about 50% of what's in there, right? But guess what? You first have had to sacrifice and put that $200,000 in there, right? Or you can't borrow against it. So anyway, again, sacrifice. You have to be smart with your money. But what a VA loan does is a VA loan comes in and says, you know what? We'll finance the whole $500,000. You put zero money down. Now, does that mean because you have a VA loan, you can have zero money in your accounts and then try to purchase a house? No, that's dum da da dee da dum dum da da dee dee dum dum da da dee da dum dum. Okay, so look, no, because you still have closing costs that you'll have to pay. You'll still have the title you have to pay for. There's still some expenses, but they will finance the total cost of the home loan, not the fees that come with it, right? All right, so then you have FHA, which allows you to put down as little as 3.5%, less than 20. You can go 19% if you want to. Let's say you had 19%, you just didn't have 20. You could use an FHA loan if you want to, right? And you would say, well, why would you put down 19% versus putting down 3.5 if that's all you had to put down? Let me bring up a little calculator because this math I ain't trying to do. All right, so 500,000 times 0.035. That's $17,500. That sounds a whole lot better than putting down 100 grand, right? So you could put down as little as 17,500 and as much as 19%, right? An FHA loan just allows you to go underneath what a conventional loan is. So if you want to put 5%, you could do that, right? So an FHA loan is the best thing you're going to get next to a VA loan. There are other programs like NACA, right? Look up NACA if you really want to buy a home. But this is why I'm talking about this, right? Let's say the loan amount, let's use $500,000. That's 500 grand. That's the principal amount, right? And we know with homes, you're going to pay a conventional home, you're going to pay it off. Oh, it says number of months. See, that's why you got to pay attention. So we know 10 months is 10 years is 120 months. So multiply that by 3, that's 360 months. So 30 years that you're going to pay on this house. Let's say you got an annual interest rate, the blacksmith rate. This is what I got, okay? And let's say, I need Redfin. Let's say you're probably about 3,500 right here. And let's say your first payment is due January, and let's see, detail schedule. All right, now I gotta switch the screens around. This will be the last one I do, but I'm gonna show y'all something. All right, here we go. Let me maximize this for me. All right, so look, your payment's $3,500. But look at this now. Compound interest is undefeated, but it works the other way too. So when you pay for something using other people's money, OPM, right? You get loans, they charge you a bunch of interest, and you have to uncompound the interest, right? So it works in reverse for you because now price is what you pay, 42,000, value is what you get. You only paid 25 G's off of your principal. Yeah, that don't seem fair, does it? But if you bought a home and you're paying 42 grand a year for the mortgage, but you are investing in your retirement fund 10 or 20% a year, aren't you balancing out compound interest right there? So where are you really losing at? You're going to pay, and watch, if you're 30 years old buying a house, you're paying an overage of compound interest in the beginning on this home, but you're getting a little bit on the beginning end when you start your TSP or your IRA or your retirement account, right? But at the end, you're getting way more value than what you put in, and it's going to be the same thing here for this home. Just watch this. So at the end of year one, you lost out, but you paid, look at all this interest, 16 grand in interest you paid. Most people be like, oh, well, that sucks. Well, now look, the second year you only paid 15 grand. You're $800 less. The third year, you're down to 14 grand. It's still a lot of interest, folks. Now let's look all the way at we got to go all the way down here. All right, so now you've paid off your house in 2054. You have paid a total of $458,000. Well, no, you've paid a total of $500,000 for the home, but realistically, where is it at? I think you would have to, no, here it is, right here. $759,000 for a $500,000 home. That's what you've done, right? And look at all the interest that you've paid, right? So you have to understand that compound interest works the same way in reverse when you are being loaned money. When you're investing money, it's undefeated on your behalf. When you are borrowing money, it's undefeated as your opponent. So you got to have, it's got Mike Tyson punching power, and you don't have the body of a heavyweight that can take those punches, unless you do. And now here is something that you may not know. If you are buying a home, or for you that I'm looking at on the camera right now, and you know who I'm talking to, you've not yet purchased a home, okay? So when you purchase a home, put this in your mind, wrap your mind around this. If you bought a home for $500,000 and you're earning 40 grand a year, then you can make the payment, right? Do the math on, maybe you have to work a part-time job, maybe work overtime, maybe work 2 full-time jobs for a while, but I want you to wrap your head around this. If you paid that house to the end and you made just one extra payment, so not 12 payments monthly, 12 plus 1. So you could do this on the first month, you could do this on the last month of the year. I would pay it as soon as possible. So if you had enough in January to make 2 payments, make your regular payment, right? And then tell them you want to drop, if it's $3,500, tell them you want to drop another $3,500 on the principal, not the interest. Don't make another scheduled payment, make an unscheduled payment to the interest. Why? Because if you make one extra payment to the principal every year, this 36 months gets significantly cut down. 30 years gets cut down to 22 and a half years you'll pay this house off. You cut the interest down drastically just by making one extra payment straight to the principal amount every year. Now, for you I'm looking at, same you on the camera, who hasn't purchased a house yet, if you work enough and are smart enough to wrap your head around this, listen to what I'm about to say. If you make just two extra payments a year, I know that sounds like a lot of money, but again, you have to sacrifice in the beginning. What do you do when you're 62? Not sit around and play video games, not sit around and watch Netflix and chill, watch Netflix and then also chill is what I meant. But you have to work, right? You have to work and you have to sacrifice in the beginning, because if you made just 2 extra payments a year straight to the principal, so instead of $3,500, in this case, it'd be $7,000, you would actually pay that house off in 15 years. You wouldn't even go all the way to 30 years and you wouldn't pay this monstrous amount of interest for that home. Did you know that? Now you do. All right, folks, we got to close this up. The forge is closing. Y'all have been forged today. Salute back to you. I hope this has been a good video for you. And I will catch you next time. All right, folks. Gots to go.